Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of Youth in the Loop, a talk show geared at youth, for the youth, youth expressing themselves in controversial issues. I am your host, Philippa Dixon Lamy, alongside my co host, Norris Kimball. On our panel today, we have Gabby, Japheth, Kathleen, and Samantha. Our discussion today is on the expectations of Christian dating. Christian dating is a relationship approach rooted in faith, aiming to honor God by seeking a Christ-centered partner, focusing on spiritual growth and often leading to marriage. It offers from it differs from secular dating by emphasizing shared values, clear communication about faith, and intentionally for glorifying God, rather than just fun or for casual encounters. It involves principles like mutual spiritual encouragement, accountability, setting boundaries, often including, yes, sexual abstinence before marriage, and involving family, all while viewing the relationship as a path to maturity in Christ. I am really looking forward to a very healthy and exciting discussion. Over to you, Norris.
I'm so excited. I don't know who should get the first question, but I am going to give the first question to, I believe, Gabby. I believe, Gabby, you're going to get it. But it's not a hard question. See this whole thing with Christian dating. I'm trying to understand, is it different, really different from regular dating? Because in regular dating, we all have expectations.
Mhm.
So in Christian dating, you're saying you have Christian expectations. So I want to set this foundation. So the first question, Gabby, what do you think is the purpose of dating from a Christian perspective?
I think the purpose of dating from a Christian perspective is trying to find your person, but putting God at the center of your relationship. I think that's the difference between Christian dating and just regular dating. Regular dating, you place boundaries by your own rules, whereas with Christian dating, your boundaries come from the Bible, and I think that's the real difference.
So let me understand before anyone else answers. So you're saying that a Christian who is dating another Christian, the Bible is your guide. And so you're going to do everything based on the Bible. And that is the difference between Christian dating and secular dating, if you will. Okay.
I think another thing too that the Bible mentions is not to be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. A lot of persons take that Bible verse out of context. Some persons say,
Mhm.
it's forbidden to date a Christian from another denomination. So even that, I think we should really look at as well when it comes to Christian dating. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with both of my panelists. I'd also add that with Christian dating or courtship, it's more so like looking at the characteristics of your partner, trying to see like, okay, are they behaving like Christ? Do they have characteristics that I'm looking for in a partner? Like, are they patient? Are they kind? Are they loving? Do they care about their family? Like,
Mhm.
what's their relationship with their parents? All of these things come into mind. And it also, compared to dating, it kind of tends to take a little bit more time before you officially become exclusive. Whereas with dating, sometimes it could be like right away, okay, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Whereas with courting, it's like, okay, let's get to know each other. Let's go on these outings, getting to see like, okay, um, just kind of like getting to know each other a little bit better.
Okay. So basically, from what I understand, is the difference really between Christian dating and secular dating is by
Mhm.
is God, the word of God. and you're introducing God into your relationship, you want to make sure that the person in whom you are dating have a heart after God, I'll say. Okay, madam, I'm going to turn it over to you, but I can honestly say that the questions will become more intense as this progresses.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I am going to go the red flag way. What are some red flags in Christian dating?
Okay, I'll take this one first. Woo, red flags, mercy. Listen, listen. I think the first word that comes to mind is boundaries. Of course, when it comes to Christian dating, boundaries is a very important aspect that needs to be set from the beginning.
Mhm.
However, if you meet somebody that doesn't honor your boundaries that you set, I think that's a clear red flag for sure.
True.
I'd also say, like some other red flags would be like, they can say that they're Christian, but are they Christian in name or in behavior? Like,
Mm.
do they actually care about their fellow man? Do they take time to get to know God? Do they read their Bible? Do they pray every single day? Do they attend church? Like, all of these things should definitely be coming to mind.
Love that.
I would say a Christian red flag for me is definitely, um, and I talk about this like the religious manipulation when
Mm.
somebody is too educated about the Bible and they can use it to their abilities to basically change your thoughts or manipulate the person or gaslight them into doing something that they want to do. Like if you're just too good at it, when you're too good at something, you can use it for evil as well. So I feel like you have to be really aware and also a prayer. Like if your person does not want to pray with you or do anything that revolves around the religion or any type of biblical activities or practices, I would say definitely what Catherine said. That's a definitely a red flag for me. Is
Mhm.
or if they're not even active in church or do anything with church, that's a red flag for me.
Okay. Okay. What about a controlling behavior?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I will tell you right now. I think that is it's so vile, and that's a
Mm.
strong word. It's vile because my thing is, I think people would take that word control and just run with it and decide what it actually means. I think the word we're trying to look for is security, not control. Because when you're controlling something, you're actually taking over the complete situation, not allowing the person to grow on their own or understand what they're doing or allowing them to just go through that process as well. When you have complete control over something, you're actually taking away the person's identity and they're also losing themselves while they're trying to be a perfect person for you. So controlling is having the ability to just take over. But when you have that security, you're securing your person and securing yourself that they'll make the right decisions. And also, if you are having God in the center of your relationship, control should never be a problem. That should never even be a factor because
Mm.
God is the center. He will guide both of you guys in the ways that you should be growing together as a partner, as a union.
Okay, so overall now, what are some qualities that you look for in a spouse? You're dating, what are some qualities?
I think for me, I look for someone who's not just nice, but kind. And I wasn't aware that there was a difference, but there's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Men who are nice means that they say please and thank you. They hold open the door after you. But men who are kind means they go out of their way to be kind to others, even if it doesn't benefit them, even if it inconveniences them, right? Those are men who are kind. And I don't think there's a lot of kind people left in this world. It's people who are nice because of situations, but it's not a people who are kind.
Interesting.
I think another adjective I would use is calm. Um, Calm is something that I look for in a partner. There's a lot of people out there who love chaos. They just thrive in chaos. I don't know why,
Mm.
but There is a phrase that's used, it's very popular. I don't want peace, I want problem, always. And I'm like, you don't have to live like this every single day. Just calm down and live normal. So when I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for someone who's level-headed and calm. That's the most important thing for me. Someone who's calm.
But what if things change
That's
eventually?
that's a very good question. What I normally do is that I observe an individual over a period of time. It could be 2 weeks,
Mhm.
it could be 3 weeks, and I know that people can only pretend for so
For so
long.
long.
So once I see the crack in certain areas, I will, think about it and say, hey, can I live with this? Can I adopt to this? If I can't, I will definitely leave it alone.
Wow. Okay, good one. Kathleen?
Some traits that I look for in a partner, or yeah, partners slash
Mhm.
spouse is
Mhm.
someone who is respectful, someone who is mature in their thinking, and someone who has empathy as well. It's especially with the empathy, it's really important to be able to feel as though you can share your thoughts with someone, share your feelings with them, and they can be able to at least be like, okay, I hear you, I
Mhm.
understand, and they can imagine what it's like being in your place. Whereas someone who is just like, they hear you and it's like it's not resonating with them. And I would also say like someone who is a good listener. I think that is incredibly important.
Very good.
I
Love this
believe
response.
Gabby just went into that. I definitely do not want a performative relationship. And
Mm.
I think when I say that, people take it and they add their own connotation to it and they just switch it. Like the thing was that you're being performative means that you're doing it, your due diligence, and you're basically having no remorse or no regard for what's on who you're impacting throughout the process. I
Mhm.
don't want somebody who's paying the bills, who is doing this, who's doing everything that a man should do just because he's a man. I want you to do those things because you want
Genuinely.
to. I shouldn't tell you to give me flowers. You should want to give me flowers because you love me enough to give me flowers. But now the fact I told you, that means you didn't think about me enough to do a kind gesture. Even
Mhm.
though I think that's the thoughtfulness. You should want to do those things because you know the life that you want ahead in life. You're not being intentional. So I don't want a performative relation. I want a man who wants to take care of me, who wants to provide for his family, a man who wants to work, a man who actually wants to do what God has intended. Broke men. The Lord does not condone men who are not virtuous, men who are unkind. And yes, there is a big difference. I want a man who actually sees a woman on the street and decides to help her. I don't want a man who's like, oh, I just want you to be kind. Because, like I said, none of the kind people in the world, I want you to be kind. Because if I'm high spirited and you see this
Mhm.
light in me, you should try to be like your woman as well, just because you're the head. You know what I mean? You should embody some of my traits.
Okay, interesting. But not so much of a people pleaser, though. Uh-uh.
Oh, no, no, definitely not a people pleaser. You should learn to say no. I love saying no. If I can say no, I'm going to say no. My sanity comes before anything else.
Okay, awesome. Back to you, Norris.
I hear a lot of expectation from women. Now, women have expectations, men have expectations as well.
Hmm.
One thing I told my daughters, if you carry your own money, if you have your own, if you can order your own food, pay for your own dinner, call your own Uber, whatever it is, a man can expect much from you because you have your own thing. But see, women expect a lot. I'm listening to Samantha. And Samantha is saying, I'm expecting a man to give me flowers. I'm expecting a man maybe to open the door. I'm expecting a man to be nice, just be kind. According to Gabby, there's a difference. So since women have all of these expectations, men have expectations as well.
Hmm.
So I give an example. When I was dating, if I expected if I, as they say, wine and dine a woman, I also expect to recline with the woman. I don't know if you understood that. So men have their expectations. So what would you say? Since you have all of these expectations, is it wrong for a man to expect something, even a Christian man, to expect something in return?
Oh,
Now anybody can take that and move forward with it.
you know, Norris, I got you. I think I'm gonna throw myself out for this one. Um, I believe yes. I think that just because we're Christian, I always say this, no matter what kind of man you are, even if you're a God-fearing man, you're a man first.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand the man, his capabilities and his intentions and what his natural biology and then what comes with the man and what needs to be handled in the eyes of the Lord, I think that when we have a full grasp of the man itself, then it's easier for it to maneuver around him. So yes, I think those it just takes a conversation, and women should learn how to women should cater to their partners because we're nurturing. It's natural in us to nurture. We love animals. It's just natural for us. God made us this way. And due to the fact that some women may not be nurturing due to whatever their background was, does not mean they don't have that in them. We just need somebody to bring it out of us or be around in situations that will allow us to be feminine.
Okay, okay. Let me move this. Let me move this here. Have you ever encountered someone in the church who expected something that the Bible said no?
You further elaborate?
Okay, the Bible talks about premarital sex. Have you ever encountered anyone in the church or dated anyone in the church where they did not believe they should wait until marriage to have sex? But they expected this as a part of, I'm taking you out, I'm buying you flowers, I'm doing all of these things. And you mean to tell me I cannot have sex with you because this is a Christian dating?
Gabby? Japhet? Okay, yes, because I think that, like I said, when it doesn't matter if you're a man of God, a man of Buddha, whatever religion you believe in, you're still a man first. Men have needs just like women. God didn't create sex and feelings and all these other stuff for no reason. You're gonna feel, even if you're not trying to feel it, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You're gonna feel those things, and men are natural, lookers. They're visual, so they see a good looking woman is going to invoke whatever emotion that they're feeling in that moment for that woman. Not saying that you're not going to do your part and everything else, but you're going to have other feelings that you're going to want to entertain. Now
Okay.
the woman wants to go along with it. That's between you and her, but it's really up to the man and how he's being intentional with it.
All right, let me hear from someone else.
I heard a Bible verse. It's very interesting. I think Paul mentioned that it's better to marry than to burn. Now, I'm not saying that because you're feeling a certain way, you should just, the first female you see, you feel a certain type of way, you marry her. No, no, it's not, it doesn't go like that. But I have actually had that experience before. I didn't really like I didn't pressure her. It's just that because I was doing so much for her, I guess she saw the need to be like, hey, you're doing so much for me. Let me give you something in return. But I
Mm,
guess the Holy Spirit within me was like, hey, no, like y'all are not married.
wow.
I know you're a human being. She's a human being. Y'all have feelings. But I was like, no, something about this doesn't feel right. And to make the long story short, the relationship didn't even last that long afterwards, either way.
Mhm.
So I think I did the right decision in saying no, because even though I was doing a lot for her, I just felt like it wasn't the right place and time to do that type of action, if I can call
So
it an action. Yeah.
so the women have the expectations, and you're saying that your expectation was not, I guess, hers. She just offered it to you because you were doing so much for her. And women love guys that do so much for them, especially if they're not going to ask anything in return.
Yeah, it was a give and get, but it's like in that moment, I just felt like it wasn't the right time to do it. I mean, again, we are human beings. We have our feelings. I'm a man. I mean, the feelings are there, but in that moment,
Mhm.
it just felt like it wasn't the right thing to do. So I just said no.
Okay, let me ask this question, Kathleen. If a man, do you expect the man to open the door for you? Do you expect the man to bring you flowers? Do you expect the man to bring you chocolate? Do you expect these things from a man? And if a man does not do them, would you leave him, or does that, or he's not a man, or what happens to him?
Yes, I do expect that from my partner. I have, for me, I guess it's kind of like a standard, and so I do expect that from guys who are interested in me and so on. And I feel as though if they're not able to, I guess, if they're not able to rise up to the occasion, then I'm not as interested. Because for me, I feel as though I don't know. I guess that's just from like how I was raised. Like that's what I saw in like with my parents and so on. And so like that was what was modeled for me. And so I look for that in my future relationships. Like I expect a man to treat a woman respectfully. I expect them to open up the door for them. I feel as though that's the bare minimum.
So so so
Um,
so let me ask you this. So
mhm.
do you set that boundary ahead of time when you meet someone, or you just allow the person to act out themselves? Because maybe a young man, he may not know that, hey, she expect flowers. Maybe he may not have had a role model to show him, hey, maybe you open the door for a lady. Me personally, I don't have a problem. I really get offended when a lady don't open the door for me and I've opened the door for her. I really get offended for that, you know. But that's just me. I expect that. I really do. So therefore, if he has not had a role model to show him how to be affectionate, what would you do? Do you let him go immediately? Do you set the boundaries ahead? Hey, I expect you to give me chocolate. I expect you to give me roses. I expect you to open the door for me. And if you don't do these things, you're out the door.
So whenever I am starting the whole process of courtship with someone, I don't share that with them right off the bat. I just kind of see how they act and I kind of see how they behave because I do know that some men tend to be shapeshifters. And whenever you tell them certain things, they start acting as if, that's what they're all about. And then after you get to know them after a while, then their true colors start to show. So I'm like, okay, I think it's better to just kind of see how they are naturally. And I think what I've done in the past is that I have let them know, like, hey, I kind of wish that you would do this, this, and this. Because I do understand that not everyone, unfortunately, not every man has that type of role model. Sometimes they just have to figure it out on their own. Um, and so a lot of times that can lead to the blind leading the blind. They might seek guidance from their friends, and their friends also don't know what to do. So it's like, it's just a hot mess. So I have been known to just let them know, like, hey, I would expect, this and that, or maybe you should try this and that, just kind of like suggest it a little bit and then just pay close attention to see if they are really listening. Because for me, and what I look for in a partner is someone who listens to me, who actively listens. And if I see like, okay, after a little bit of a while, if they're not like listening to me and I still feel as though my needs are not being met in that way, then I do let that relationship go.
Gabby, how would you handle a challenge where you're trying to live right for the Lord? You're trying to do everything according to the word of God. And you meet someone, even in the church, and you're dating someone, but that person may be encouraging you to have sex. How would you handle that situation? How would you handle that challenge? Would you leave that person, or would you try to work with that person? How would you handle that?
I've had that experience where I met somebody in the church and they were going down a different path than I wanted to. And at that time, I really tried to work with them. I really tried to make things work because they had so many other great qualities. And I think it's very hard to find, he was SDA, he was tall, he was West Indian, we had similar backgrounds. But at the end of the day, we were unequally yoked. And no matter, you can't change a person who has that kind of mindset. So you have to let them go.
Okay. Madam, before I go back to you, I want to clarify something. When I said that I expect a woman to open the door for me, let me clarify that. We men open the door for women with no problem. So one particular day I was going into the store, I had my hand full, and the lady went in front of me. I couldn't open the door, and the door slammed in my face, and I was really upset. I said, is this all? Women expect men to open up doors for them, but a woman cannot open the door for a man? And that's why I say I expect a woman to open the door for me as well. See, expectations, when you look at it, it's just not the man. you expecting from, but the man has a right to expect certain things from you as well. Okay, so just like you say he's not a gentleman, I can say she's not a lady. Okay, madam, I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
Wow, a lot of expectations. Wow, wow. Okay, so what are some activities Christians do when dating?
Please Scrabble.
Going out for dinner
Okay.
or for lunch, that's definitely fine.
Mhm.
Just maybe sometimes going walking in the park, having a picnic at the park and just asking each other questions, doing like a Bible study together.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay, simple does it.
A Bible study.
Yeah, like, they have their devotionals together. Yeah, they have their devotionals together and we're reading and then we're talking about whatever we read and just kind of like, okay, what did you think about this? Like, what were your thoughts? And sharing
Mhm.
our own experiences and so on.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
I would say Um, comes back to the person. Let's say I'm adventurous. When you learn the personality of your partner, then you know what kind of activities your partner does and doesn't like. If my partner is more of an introvert, then I'll do introverted activities that he can still, and also shows that I care enough to learn more about him and cater to what kind of personality he has. And if I'm more outgoing and he's willing to go bungee jumping with me or skydiving or something crazy, that shows that he's willing to come out of his comfort zone for me. So I think it comes down to the personality of the person that you're dating. Or it could just be simply like game night, regular like museums, coffee dates. You just have to do your research. We do think Christians are not so different from people of the world in that sense. We still do activities, just that we have God in the center and we just have certain beliefs and we have rules that we have to follow, just like any other religion.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
So basically, you have to communicate your expectations
Yeah,
to
from
each other.
beforehand. Yeah. So at least
Mm.
you know not to move forward in something that you're not even gonna even last in. Because what's the point of me pouring out everything, putting all this work and it's not gonna work out? That's
Mhm.
why the point of those dates is to see how you maneuver in public. What are you tactful? Do you know how to use a word? These little basic, things that some of us that we're experiencing, it shows me, how do you behave yourself? What are your mannerisms?
Mhm.
It's more than just dating. How do you conduct yourself? It's so much more than that.
Okay. Gabby?
I agree with Samantha. I think it's really based on what you like and what the other person likes. I mean, for me, I love a lot of different like the arts. So like I like going to slam poetry nights, those kind of things. So I think it just depends on what your partner likes and what you like and compromising and doing fun things together.
Okay. Nice. Yes, Japhet, I see you shaking the head.
no, I agree with everybody. Trust me, everybody had some good answers. For me, I love nature. So a nature walk is like my
Nature.
first thing. Like a
Mm.
Sabbath nature walk, like seeing the sunset going down and
Mhm.
stuff. That
Mhm.
is beautiful. I think that's like one of the most perfect areas to have like, your date to see the sunset as the Sabbath comes to an end. Yes. That for me is the perfect example of a good
Hmm.
place to be. Mhm.
Now, this question, it's kind of tricky. You have some Christians who will prefer to date a non-Christian.
Hmm.
What are your expectations, all right, in achieving this?
Ooh, y'all quiet. Okay. Um, it's okay. Like I said, okay, Miss Madame, Miss Madam. Okay. I would say your moral compass. I know it's gonna be please hear me well when I say this. The Bible is the blueprint of everything for us believers. But I do believe the things in the rules that are in the Bible, it still correlates to like basic, human behaviors. Like the way the God says be kind and your moral compass is being kind is the same thing. It's just that you don't believe in God. But if you're still a good person with biblical behaviors, you're really not that different. It's kind of like the same thing without the title. It's kind of like your wife without the ring. Basically, that's the best way for I can put it out there. I just see you as a partner without the ring, but everything that you're talking about is what I'm already embodying in the religion that I'm currently, in and believe in and practice.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Christian without a title, so I think it could work out.
Because go ahead, Japhet.
No, can you say the question one more? This is a very, very interesting question. I want to make sure I got it correct before we move forward.
No,
Yes.
some Christians will date a non-Christian person. What do you hope to achieve in doing this?
Experience. There are probably a few Christians out there that probably never had like a girlfriend or a boyfriend before. When I say the word experience, I'm not saying, you're going out with this person, you're doing every single thing that this person is doing. No. But it would be great to at least have like certain levels of connection with persons of the opposite gender just to know what you want. Some persons who never been in a relationship before don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what they want. So I think that having that experience with someone who isn't a non-Christian is fine. But again, the boundaries need to be set.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I think some of the expectations that the person that is dating a non-believer has is that uh, they can be able to help that person get converted to become a believer. And I believe this is called like missionary dating, where like a girl or boy, but usually it's a girl, they'll go outside of church, they find someone that they find attractive, this and that, and then they try to bring them into the church. And the thing is with that, it's a bit tricky because, like Jafet was saying, you have to be careful about boundaries. This is someone who may not believe in going to church. They might believe in clubbing. They might believe in partaking in drugs and all these different types of things, premarital sex. And you have to be really careful because if you get into a relationship with someone like that, you may think, oh, I can convince them. Oh, I can change them. And usually that's not how it happens. What happens is that you end up changing yourself. You end up abandoning a lot of the values that you had, that you were raised with, a lot of the things that you believe in, you end up leaving that behind because you want to be with this person so badly. So I would say with that, just have a lot of caution and constantly pray. Sometimes it can work, and sometimes it cannot. Like I have a relative who she was with a non-believer and she got married and everything, and he still does not go to church, and they've been together for over 30 years. So, you know, mixed
Wow.
results.
Wow. But just to add before I go over to Norris, growing up, I was born in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and to be honest, over time, yes, it comes with maturity, choosing someone from the church. But back then, to be honest, yes, Madame used to look for somebody outside of the church. Why? Because I've had encounters back then. I don't know if it still exists now, where the guy in the church is actually looking the same thing that the guy on the outside is looking. I've had that experience. So that is why in the past, I would look on the outside instead of on the inside for a spouse, which
Just a
sounds
quick
quite
question.
contradicting.
So, Miss Madam, if you're in church and because now I feel like but how do you know the difference then? Because what if you're in church and then the boys that are in church tend up acting like the men that are outside? So, I mean, don't you think that at some point you're going to have to just have like it just comes down to a conversation, or do you just go
Mhm.
ahead and just put yourself out there and just hope for the best? Because sometimes the men in the church are worse than the men that are
That's
outside.
that's my point.
And Kathleen, I think what you're talking about earlier was it's on the Harley Quinzel syndrome. Cause when you said that, I thought about Harley Quinn immediately because sometimes we try to be good people to other people, and we try to show up for them in the best ways possible. We end up becoming the very thing that we try to avoid. So I think that we shouldn't try to like push such a strong narrative or run from it. Like if you don't like, for example, if you don't like something about your parents and you don't want to marry like your parents, you end up marrying the same person that was like your dad. So I think that sometimes we shouldn't try to our best to like focus on the positives. I think we should try and be really as intentional as possible.
And before, can one have too many expectations?
Of course.
Because
But
I think
to rise to the occasion.
I think it can affect you choosing your dating, and then because of your expectations, you might allow that person, the ideal person, to basically just slip through your hands.
Well, what is your cultural background? What if I'm from, India or Africa where the dating customs and the rules for dating and the expectations are very, very high, especially
Mhm.
for men and women. So what if my cultural background, there's no way I could date a man from America if he doesn't have my African beliefs. What if I try to tell him something and he's like, no, we don't do that there. And I'm like, no, a wife is the man's supposed to do this and this and this. So sometimes maybe we try our best to look for something good out of what we are known and comfortable to, but sometimes sticking to what we know could just be the safest option sometimes because they already know what comes with it. You
Mhm.
know how you're supposed to treat me. I know what you're supposed to provide. So sometimes it's just best to stay in the box that you know sometimes or go against the grain. It's a gamble.
Fair enough. Okay, Norris.
No question right now. Actually, want to try to no. I want to try to my very first question I asked was the purpose, right? And Gabby had said the difference between, I would say, Christian dating and secular dating is that we have the Bible as our guide, correct, Gabby? Okay. Now I want to go back to this because I hear in the conversation, if the Bible is our guide, remember the Bible also says to be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. The Bible says.
Mhm.
Now we have to be very careful because see, we set ourselves up when we start going outside the church and we start looking for love, maybe even in a different denomination. Let me explain something. When you are equally yoked, that's the two kinds. Now I'm not a farmer. So for example, you can yoke two oxen, you can yoke two horses, but you cannot yoke an oxen and a horse because that's unequally yoked.
Mm.
One, that the strength is not matching. You understand that? Now, if two let's say Christians are dating, two 7 day Adventists be exact.
Mhm.
You're not unequally yoked. You may be now incompatible. See, we need to be very careful of not getting this mixed up. God's rule says, be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers. There's a reason why God put that there. When you start going outside looking for, oh, he looks beautiful or she looks more beautiful than the women or the men inside the church, you set yourself up for failure. And then this is where now all of the expectations come from because you're now outside the camp and you're now this person expecting. But maybe if you was inside the camp, you wouldn't have all of these expectations. See, a lot of times we put ourselves outside the camp. We set ourselves up. The Bible is very detailed, and it says to be ye not equally yoked with unbelievers. That's what it says, right, Gabby? So we have to be careful. Do not go outside looking because remember, Samson said, she pleases me well. Samson set himself up. The instructions were to stay in your camp, if you will. The same thing here. So when we're dating, let's keep in mind, I've told my children this and I pray they remember it.
Mm.
When you are dating, unequally yoked or equally yoked is different from incompatible. So I can date another 7 day Adventist. I'm not unequally yoked so far. I'm incompatible because we don't share this value. Maybe we dislike this. It's a lot of compromise. We may be just incompatible, but you can never say that you're unequally yoked, because you cannot yoke an oxen and a horse together. That's unequally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
Equally yoked is of the same kind. An oxen and an oxen, a horse and a horse. Okay, that's equally yoked. A Seventh-day Adventist with a Seventh-day Adventist. Now, you may be incompatible with the other Seventh-day Adventists. That's fine. We all have our incompatibilities. You understand? But you find that out when you're courting. When you court someone, you find that out. Now, you may find in life there are some people who are married to someone of a different denomination. That goes on. I won't dismiss that. Mm. But we don't want to follow down the path, because sometimes people have more, forgive me for my French, and I know it's French, but y'all understand this word. We may have more hell, because you now have two different kinds. You believe one thing, the other person believe another thing. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there as well. Now, so be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay, we must be equally yoked. God warned us. He has a map, a road guide for us, and we can solve a lot of problems. Gabby, based on what Gabby said, is having the Bible as your guide, right? Okay, so let's keep the Bible as our guide. Now, I want to go to what Philippa had mentioned, actually, and I want to phrase this in a different way, because some women have their standards too high that they couldn't even meet them if they were to. The standards are too high, and I'll start off by giving an example. I know a young lady, she had a master's degree, and she said she did not want to date anyone who had less than that. That young lady is still single right now today, many, 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 many years later. Did love slip through her hand because the person didn't have a master's degree? She went into the relationship expecting too much. Yeah. So would you agree, ladies and gentlemen, do you go into relationships expecting too much? And if you do you now loosen the reins? Somebody grab onto it.
Yes, I definitely think some women are guilty of doing this. For example, there's that whole entire idea of the list where they have like their physical traits of what they want their partner to look like. He has to be 6'5". He's got to be this type of color. He has to have this type of eye color. He has to talk like this and so on. And it's like they already have this whole entire image of the person that they may never end up meeting. And so there's a lot of danger with that. I think when it comes to expectations, I feel as though what's important is just kind of really focus on the characteristics of the person. Of course, it has to be someone that you're physically attracted to. I think that that's very important. But also it has to be about the character of their heart and the relationship with Christ. So for me, what I do with my relationships is that I always try to like I keep a list, but my list is more so on like, okay, do they have these type of characteristics? I focus on the relationship with their parents. Are they ambitious? Do they have goals for themselves? Like, I understand like with your friend that you had mentioned who wanted someone who only had like a master's degree and that's it. I don't think, I mean, I think it's important, like if you want someone who's like working hard, I feel like it's more important on like, okay, are they at least, do they have like ambitions or a goal in their lives like that they're working towards? Are they actually trying to get a job if they're in the process of searching, or are they just kind of like being lazy and so on? I feel as though when you focus more on the characteristics and more on the relationship with Christ, it kind of helps you to pull back on having too many like out of this world expectations.
Okay. Gabby, do you believe your standards or your expectations are too high?
No. To be frankly, no. I think other women, yeah, I mean, their expectations can be high, but I think for myself, I think my expectations should be higher, actually. I feel like I'm a very understanding and compassionate individual. And so if you're not meeting my expectations, then you're just not for me. I run a strict program.
So you don't actually try to take a step back and look and see, why am I not meeting this guy? I have this perfect guy set up in my head and I'm not meeting him. Do you step back and just am I expecting too much? And maybe I need to maybe make some adjustments. But what I'm hearing from you is no, boom, that's the way it is. If I don't find that person, move on. So you don't.
Yeah, I don't think my expectations are too high to achieve, to be
Okay.
honest. I think that they're reasonable, and I think that from the men that I've seen and I looked at my figurative list, and I think they're very easy to achieve. So I think they're just lacking in that area.
Mm.
Okay. Go ahead on Samantha, run with it. What about your expectation? Do you need a ladder to climb it?
No, honestly, I think because of how I was raised and sometimes with our backgrounds and personal experiences, I know exactly what I don't want and I know the kind of person I'm looking for. I would say sometimes people tend, I think the difference is that this was going on for like a month now. People talk about like, oh, we attract and what we're attracting. I think there's a difference. Sometimes people see a light in us that we do or do not see in ourselves, and they tend to prey on the people who actually have a light and they just either just want to bring us down with them. So I think that when we understand who we are as individuals, it will be easier for us to find a partner who is like-minded. But I think my standards are fine and they're very achievable. There's men out there who do far more than what I'm asking. If you can't do the little list, I can't trust you with bigger things.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Hamilton, what about your expectation? Are you, well, I'll say not are you because, well, did you have high expectations?
Well, Mr. Norris, us as guys, we're a little different when it comes to our expectation.
We are.
For me, I just want a calm, peaceful young woman. Someone, of course, who loves the Lord, Seven Adventists. Yes, absolutely. Of course, men are also driven based on sight. So, of course, when it comes to my expectation, she needs to look like a human being as well. Um, but in terms of qualities that I'm looking for or was looking for, peace of mind and a calm individual is number one for me. I don't think that's difficult to achieve at all. So my expectation is someone who is calm, soft-spoken, feminine, love the Lord, all that stuff. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
That is my expectation, and I believe that it's definitely achievable, especially from a guy's perspective.
Okay. Before I turn it back over to you, Philip, I wanted to read. It's found Second Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14 says,
Mhm.
do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? That's taken from the English Standard Version. Okay. So we have to be very careful when we're looking on the outside thinking the grass is greener on the other side because it may not be green on the other side. And remember, to yoke is of the same kind because you're supposed to work together, not separately. When a person has to work by him or herself, it makes it more unbearable. You understand that? Okay, I
True.
turn it back over to you, Philippa.
Okay, so final question. One advice, quickly, one advice you would give a young Christian who is dating.
Very quickly, what I would say is pray. If you used to pray one time a day, when it comes to relationships, start praying three times a day because when it comes to dating and of course dating to marry, it's a very serious decision that you're making. So if you're praying one time a day towards a relationship, pray three times a day or more. So
Mhm.
prayer is definitely the key.
Definitely.
I would say don't settle because you can't find what you're looking for.
Mm.
Love that.
I would say be more intentional with yourself. Definitely do some soul searching, get closer to God, get your image, get your finances, get yourself prepared for when that man that God has for you so you're ready for him. Make sure that you're mentally, spiritually, physically prepared to take on that man that God has for you. Because you can't expect and can't rise to the occasion. Make sure that you're rising to the occasion and doing your part as a woman.
I would say keep a list of the qualities that you are looking for in a partner. And when you receive attention from someone, don't try to just think like, oh my gosh, I'm getting attention. They therefore must be the partner that is meant for me. No, always go back and go over your qualities. Consult with God, consult with your family, whoever it is that you seek out for advice, and just constantly keep thinking about like, okay, is this person going to be a good partner? Keep those qualities in mind.
Philippa, before you wrap up, I would like to say this. When I came into the church before I got married, I
Mhm.
remember the elder gave me a book, and the book was called Messages to Young People. You probably already know that. But I learned so much from Messages to Young People. And I would like to just throw that out there. Everyone who's watching this discussion, go pick up the book Messages to Young People by Ellen G. White. That book is filled with information, red flags, courtship, infatuation. Read the book. I learned a lot from that book before I got married. And I'm not saying you're going to have a perfect relationship or a perfect marriage,
Mhm.
but you will not go in a marriage or in a relationship ignorant. So I advise everyone to read that book. And if you're married already, get the book Adventist Home by Ellen G. White.
Sound advice. So overall, look for maturity, responsibility, and Christ-like qualities, not just physical attraction or worldly success, as these are indicators for a strong, lasting marriage. The Bible encourages Christians to approach relationships with intention, prioritizing holiness and commitment as they seek a lifelong partner, rather than engaging in casual, worldly dating practices. Thanks to my co-hosts and my panel of young Christians. Remember to like, share, subscribe to our channel. This was Youth in the Loop. See you in episode 6. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.